Freedom Equity Group is the name of our company. We are a brokerage company. We represent many different life insurance companies. What's unique about what we do at Freedom Equity Group is that these companies provide specific products for our agency, Freedom Equity Group. We are a nationwide brokerage company. What's unique about us is the products that we provide to our clients. The purpose of our business and our focus is to educate America, families in America, about the new financial service products that are available in the market for themselves and protecting the families. So, 3 things I would like to talk about. I want to talk about the reality. The real thing, what's going to happen in life, is one day we're all going to die. Do you agree? Is anyone here a vampire or not going to be dying for a while? Okay, since you're not here, since you're all humans, chances are we're all going to die. It's a fact of life, from the day that we are born up to now. We all know that one day we're all going to go. But it's a reality of life when you look at life insurance. It has played a very important role in human lives for many years, right? So therefore, people are purchasing life insurance to protect themselves in case they die prematurely. And I mean by prematurely, meaning that they have not accomplished all of their goals, right? Or taking care of all the responsibilities before they pass on. So life insurance is a way to protect the family financially, a business, or mortgage or education with life insurance after one passes on. Number 2 is living too long. People are living longer today, and I think it is the best gift that God has allowed us to have a few more years of life. Why? Because it is the ability that we can see more in life. But in living a long life, the fear for most retirees is outliving their retirement money. Number 3 is becoming ill, because none of us is immune to illnesses, right? Therefore, how do you protect someone when they become ill, if they can't earn a paycheck? So according to a Harvard Health publication, is that 7 out of every 10 Americans will encounter a heart attack, stroke, or cancer by the time they turn 65, okay? What really caught my attention was what they said is the average age of a heart attack, stroke, and cancer in America is 43. Now 43. It's fairly young, and if something happens to someone you know at 43 years of age, it can really affect their household financial climate. So how do we protect that from happening? Well, if someone experiences any of that, what we have to offer, it's called Living Benefit Life Insurance. Living Benefit Life Insurance is life insurance where you don't have to die to take your life insurance money anymore. It's totally different. Before, people had to die to get their money. Today, people don't have to die to take their life insurance money. It's the case that if someone is critically ill or chronically ill or terminally ill, you can now take your life insurance money. For example, under critical illness, if someone is diagnosed with something like a heart attack, stroke, invasive cancer, end-stage renal failure, major organ transplant, ALS, blindness, paralysis, arterial aneurysm, central nervous system tumors, major multisystem trauma, AIDS, severe organ disease, severe central system disease, major burns, loss of limbs, Parkinson, MLS, Huntington's, encephalitis, all of these things are protected under Living Benefit Life Insurance. Did you know anybody that's gotten one of these? Have any of these situations here? Yeah? You know what? About a month ago, one of my family members actually, she was a 19-year-old young lady. Her mom asked us, please donate money on the website GoFundMe, because her daughter was diagnosed with cancer, only in her first year of college. One thing I know is fact, diseases favors no age. It can happen to anybody at any time. So therefore, Living Benefit Life Insurance is that much more important, right? Chronic illness. If someone is unable to perform 2 out of the 6 daily living activities, if they cannot bathe themselves, if they cannot feed themselves, then Living Benefit Life Insurance will help pay for long-term care. So all of these features are under one life insurance policy, and that's Living Benefit Life Insurance, you know? So things such as when people get sick and they cannot work and earn money, how are they going to be able to take care of themselves, take care of their daily responsibilities, such as paying the mortgage, food, gas, car payments, etc.? All of these things, how are they going to be able to do that? Well, if you cannot earn a paycheck, this is what people have been doing. 1, they ask family and friends for help. So coming from a Polynesian family, you know how that works, right? Yeah, there's a lot of things happening. People are always asking for something when somebody's sick or dying, whatever it may be. Next, they cash out their retirement plan before retirement age. The problem about this is that when you do that, you have to pay it back plus fees and penalties. By the time people pay those things back, it's a lot more money than when they had borrowed. Another thing is fundraising. People fundraise through GoFundMe.com or borrowing money from their home equity when people own a home. The number one cause of bankruptcy in America is health. As a matter of fact, stated in the last 4 years, the report that came out states 67% of people that file for bankruptcy because of health. 67%. So therefore, if the cause of bankruptcy is health, how are we going to be able to protect it? Again, living benefit life insurance. What is the purpose of owning a life insurance that you have to die to use it? Isn't that why we call it life insurance? The problem is everyone owns death insurance. Interesting, isn't it? So therefore, our plan, our educational system, is providing the right information for families so they can protect themselves when situations happen. For example, like what happened to Johnny. Johnny was 48 years old. One of our agents helped Johnny to switch over from a 20-year death benefit term to a 20-year living benefit term. And when he got our policy, he paid less premium for the same face amount on that life insurance policy. 5 months into paying for his premium, he was diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer. And because of that, his wife had to quit her job. Now, they're in a financial bind, right? Because our agent advised John to make a claim on his living benefit life insurance, which he did, the insurance company paid him a couple weeks later, $344,000, with only 5 months of premium payment. That's pretty amazing, right? So how did that make a difference in his family's life? I'm pretty sure it was a tremendous change. Another situation. Bob was 59 years old. This guy was a very healthy man. You know, he works out a lot and so forth. One day something happens. His calf muscles started to swell up. He went to see the doctor. The doctor said, "You have ALS." ALS is Lou Gehrig's disease. There's no cure for Lou Gehrig's disease. No guarantees. Actually, it eats away all of your muscles in your body, and eventually you die. That's how it works. So therefore, to receive treatment, he needed $80,000 to slow down the process of the disease. $80,000. Do you think he has $80,000 in his pocket? Well, thank God that he had one of our living benefit life insurance policies. Because of that, he made a claim. The insurance company sent him a check of $189,000. How can that help your family, your loved ones, if something like this happened to them? In a tremendous way, right? So we made a difference. The last one that I want to share with you. In September 2014, Greg bought a very inexpensive living benefit term life insurance policy, and 2 months later, he went in for a colonoscopy, and they detected cancer, stage 3. So he decided he was going to leave the job. He wants to take care of himself. Well, where's the money going to come from? Living benefit life insurance. And because he bought a living benefit life insurance 2 months prior, he made a claim. The insurance company sent him a check of $190,000. That made a difference in his life. So the question that I always get asked is, what is the best life insurance policy? To me, the best life insurance policy is life insurance that's going to be there for you when you need it most, and you don't have to die to use it. Isn't that why we call it life insurance, right? Now, the next part of my presentation, I want to talk about retirement for a little bit. I think retirement is extremely important. To me, my definition of retirement has nothing to do with age and has everything to do with money. Do you agree? Retirement has nothing to do with age. It all has to do with money because, well, let me ask you a question. If all of us here have millions of dollars in your bank account, would you go back to work tomorrow? No, and there you go. So it has nothing to do with age, it has all to do with money. So I want to talk about retirement for a moment. As of December 1st, 2015, our national debt is $18,830 billion. This debt today is over $19 trillion. But this debt goes up by $2.3 billion every single day. Think about that for a moment. How is our national debt going to affect the way we retire in the future? Well, first of all, the only way to pay it is to raise taxes. That's the only way. There's no other way of paying a debt like this without raising taxes, right? Taxes went up to 39.6% recently. Now, are taxes going to go up or come down? What do you think? Well, I said down, but then Congress in 2014 approved the bill. They're going to raise it from 39.6 to 76%. Here's a question. How are you going to be able to survive? Right? How is your family going to be able to survive? So if you look at the history of the United States taxes, go back during the Great Depression in the late 1920s, early 1930s. Taxes went up to 79%. But people don't realize that before the Great Depression, U.S. taxes were only at 8%. 8%, that's crazy. So we had an increase of 71%. So if you look at it now, it is 39.6% now. It's going to go up to 70-something percent. That's going to be crazy, right? How are taxes going to affect our retirement? Well, because of the fact that if government is taking more out of your money in taxes, it's going to minimize the amount of contribution that you can put into your retirement, right? Every paycheck. There are more and more articles that are written today about my generation and the younger generation of the baby boomers will work into their 70s, late 70s, early 80s. No one can afford to retire sooner than that anymore. So lucky for the generation that can retire at 65. My generation, we're probably not going to retire until our 70s and 80s, right? Unless you're making really good money somewhere, right? So therefore, this is how it's going to work. Once upon a time, there were a good retirement plan, such as pension plans, right? I think government now is still offering pension plans, but the pension plan is not as good as it used to be. And why? Because the pension plan then, the market was so good then, your pension plan can grow. The nice thing about pension plan is, well, once you retire, you can start pulling money from your pension that pays you a guaranteed paycheck every single month for the rest of your life. And that pension goes up by 2%, 2 or 3% every 2 or 3 years. Today, it's all about this now. The question is this sufficient? Is it sufficient enough for retirement? The answer is no. Why do I say that? Because one thing is that Time Magazine actually validated that 401k is a lousy product and it's a financial flop. Why? Because in October 19th, 2009, when this article came out, and in 2009 when the real estate market went under, a lot of people that had retired already, or those who are ready to retire, unfortunately lost about 50%, some more, on their 401k. Therefore, 401ks went from 401 to 201, some from 401 to 101, right? A lot of people have lost a lot of money in their 401k. Unfortunately, some of these people will have to continue to work because they have to make up the difference of what they had lost in the market. And some of them that pull out whatever money they had in there and just to make do on it, so 401k is not the solution. But what option then do you have? Well, what if I say if there was a vehicle today that you can contribute money to right now that will grow in the market and you don't have to face the losses in the market or your money be susceptible to taxation ever, wouldn't it be a great vehicle? Of course. So let me explain that to you. The difference between government qualified plans like 401k and the tax-free alternative. There are 4 phases of retirement. The first phase is contribution. During your working years, like all of us now, we are still working and we're still contributing to our 401k or tax-free alternative. The fact that your contribution in a 401k or one of these programs is tax deductible. What does that mean? That means every year when you're filing for taxes, you can actually claim what you contribute into these programs right here as a tax write-off. Okay, that's nice. I would say that's a nice feature, right? In a tax-free alternative, the money that you're contributing into your tax-free alternative, it's not deductible. Why? Because it's after tax dollars. You already paid taxes on it. I'll explain a little bit more after this. Accumulation is when your contribution that you have been putting into your retirement plan is growing. It's accumulating in the market. So therefore, when you accumulate in government qualified planning, the 401, it becomes tax deferred. That means government doesn't tax you every year in your gains. They defer it. And hopefully over time, when you retire, you have a big bucket of money that's in there for retirement, right? But in the tax-free alternative, your accumulation is not tax deferred. It's tax-free. That means everything that you gain in the market, it's 100% tax-free. And then when you withdraw it at retirement in a 401k, it's taxable. Every time you withdraw money, they're going to tax you. In the tax-free alternative, every time you draw money, it's tax-free for life. That's the difference. They can run out of money. Here, it's money for life. On the 401k and government qualified plans, during transfer, and transfer meaning that when you pass away and you have money that's left in your account, money that will be transferable or willable to your children, whatever it may be, they will have to pay taxes on it before they can even spend it. But the tax-free alternative, it's 100% tax-free. So here's my question. Which do you think is best? Some people say, well, it's not the best one because you have to pay taxes in the beginning. But let's think about this. If I were to ask you, would you rather pay taxes on $100 or $100,000, which one would you rather pay taxes on? $100, right? Because $100,000, 10% of $100 is $10, right? 10% of $100,000 is 10 grand. So I'd rather pay taxes on $100 than $100,000. So therefore, it makes more sense here on a tax-free alternative. And why? Here's the reason why. Pay taxes on the seed, not at the harvest. That's the idea. That's the principle. So I want to share something with you of why I believe that tax-free alternative is better than government qualified plan. But first of all, what is the tax-free alternative? All right, a tax-free alternative is specifically a permanent life insurance. It's a permanent life insurance contract. So why is it a permanent life insurance? Because you can't use a term life insurance to contribute money for retirement. You have to use a permanent life insurance. It's called the index. So why life insurance? Because life insurance in America is tax exempt. What does that mean? What does tax exempt mean? You don't pay taxes. Life insurance is tax exempt in America. Therefore, you don't have to pay taxes on the life insurance. Therefore, the wealthy people over decades have utilized permanent life insurance to contribute their money, right? Because they know that you can grow in the market tax-free versus if you put into a 401k, it grows in a market, but when you take out, it's taxable. So it's the same vehicle, right? They both move, but one is tax-free, the other one is taxable. Well, here's a beautiful thing about this. So to explain this in a minute, from 1999 to 2011, these 12 years, if you look at the market, it's kind of interesting. Let's say, for example, you put your money into a 401k, and let's say you have $100,000. You guys put $100,000 in a 401k, right? And this other group on the right group here, you guys put your $100,000 into the index market at the same time, also in 1999, under a life insurance contract, permanent life insurance contract. Why? Because one, you understand that life insurance is tax-free. So therefore, if you look at the market in 2000, the market paid out 19.5%. So your $100,000 in your 401k went from a $100,000 to $119,500. That's a pretty good return for that year. In the index market, you only got 13%. Why? Because there is a cap on the market in the index market of 13%. Regardless if the market pays more than 13%, you will only get 13%. So your $100,000 went up to $113,000. In 2001, the market changed, right? As you can tell here, market loss. Why? Because of 9/11, remember? So 2001, 2002, and 2003, those 3 years in the market lost more than 47%. So therefore, the 401k went from a $119,500 to $71,000. That's a major drop. In the index market, you didn't earn anything because the floor was at zero. Because of the market crash, there was no return. Therefore, you earned zero. But you didn't lose anything either. Guaranteed. So think about that for a moment. Would it be best to maintain or lose? I'd rather maintain than lose it, right? In 2004, the market bounced back. The real estate boom, right? People were buying houses. So 2004, the market went up. So the 401k went from 71 to 90,000. The index market went up 13% and 127,000. In 2005, 6, 7, and 8, the market went point for point, right? In 2009, real estate collapsed. 38.5% loss in the market. So therefore, it's pretty fantastic if you look at what transpired in the market, because in a 401k, 2009, you went from 119,000 in 2008 to 73,000 again. So a lot of losses there in the market. Okay, so the next couple of years, of course, the market bounced back. But if you look at overall in the 12 years, you guys started in a 401k, started at 100,000, ended up at 102,000. Is that a good return for 12 years? Absolutely not. But for you guys in the index market, you started at 100,000 but ended up at 213,000. More than double your money. I think that's a pretty good investment, right? Here's the difference. The 401k group still have to pay taxes on that 102,000. You in the index group are tax-free. So think about that for a moment. So here it is in our index product. One of the nicest thing about it is that there is a company called Fidelity and Guarantee, one of our insurance partners that created an index product us, Freedom Equity Group. Now remember this because we had our friend here earlier and he says, yeah, we sell Fidelity and Guarantee too. They may sell Fidelity and Guarantee, but they don't sell our product because it was exclusively created for us. So therefore, our index went up to 14% cap. The floor is at 0.25%. Wherefore, if the market had this product like back in 2001 and so forth, it would have been totally different. Why? Because instead of earning 0%, you will earn 0.25%, right? In the years that the market was down, right? So instead of 6.34, it would have been at 7.34 instead. So that means the return would have been greater than 213,000. It would have been 225,000 tax-free. But here's the reality. The reality is you will never see 0.25%. Why? Because that product right there is invested in gold, real estate, and the S&P 500 market, right? If you look at it, all these industries here, in the history of the market, all three of these were never down at the same time. Never. Let me prove that. When 2001, when 9/11 happened, the stock market was down, right? The real estate market was down, but gold went up to 1900. Isn't that interesting? Today gold right now is down to 1,000, right? So it's come down a lot, right? Real estate now is up 17%. The S&P market is up at 7.9%. So here's my question. Where would you invest your money? Real estate. Why? 17%. So I would definitely put most of my money in real estate. Definitely real estate. So you can choose real estate right here as your primary investment. The nice thing about this is that you can switch from one to the other. So if you switch from real estate, if real estate continues to go up, and the prediction right now is that real estate is probably going to hit an all-time high somewhere in the high 20s, maybe the low 30s, 30% return. So if you choose real estate, you ride that wave, continue to earn more money in your portfolio, and the real estate's starting to come down, you can move your money into gold. Why? Because gold eventually again is going to go up, right? This is what you're going to see. So the average return that you're going to see in this product right here is somewhere between 9 to 10.35%. That will be the average, but we have to show in our calculation it is something around 7.5%. Why? Because we're an insurance company. Insurance are very modest. They're very conservative. So therefore, we are regulated that we have to show the lowest number. But if you look at the last 20 years, the average return in the index, it's right here. So to me, that's a pretty good return in the market, right? So that means your money can go up, and if the market collapsed, you will get a percentage guaranteed. But you would never have to face losses, and your money will guarantee return on investment. All right, moving forward. So indexed universal life is what I consider the Swiss Army of finances, and the reason why is because of this. Unlike the 401k, pension, or whatever it may be, if the market comes down, your money goes down with it. Let's say, for example, Mike and I invested while working in the same company. I put my money into Index Universal Life, and he has his in 401k. Let's say 10 years down the road, we started at the same time working for this company, and 10 years he's been contributing, let's say $30,000 a year, right? So $30,000 a year in 10 years, how much is that? $300,000, right? That's $300,000. So let's say he got a return in 10 years. He's got to a return of, let's say, 6%, right? 6%. So he ends up with $360,000. Let's say I get my policy with my index. So let's kind of look at this for a moment because this is an interesting conversation. So Mike, right, he's got $360,000 in his 401k, in 10 years. For me, when I purchased my Index Universal Life, it gave me a lump sum of life insurance of $600,000, right? Okay, $600,000, and therefore my policy right here will continue to grow. So in 10 years down the road, this policy will probably be worth somewhere around $700,000 plus. So let's say 10 years from now, okay, let's say something happened to us. We both die. What is his family going to get out of his 401k? That's the question. This is what Mike's family is going to get. He will have to pay somewhere around 6 to 8% in fees. This is in fees out of $360,000. And then he has to pay taxes on top of that, right? By the time that his family gets this money, it'll probably be around $200,000 plus, maybe $280,000, $290,000, around there. Think about this. But for me, my family is going to get $700,000 plus tax-free. Interesting, isn't it? So number 2, what if we don't die or what if we get sick? Let's say the first 2 months that he and I started working for the same company, we're contributing, right? He hasn't saved that much yet. So 2 years, he's only saved, $60,000, right? Because he's putting away $30,000 a year, right? So 2 years, that means he's going to get, his family's going to get, or he can access, he can borrow against that, which he has to pay back, penalties and fees while he's sick. For me, depending on how severe my condition is, I can take out up to 95% of $600,000, even if I've only made one premium payment into it. Isn't that interesting? So living benefits, 3. If you live too long, what if you live a long, healthy life? Then chances are, if you do so, great for you. I just hope that will be very frugal of taking out of that 401k money, because you're going to run out. My index product, they're going to be paying me income for life, tax-free. So it's a matter of pros and cons. You got to look at it. And what's best for retirement? Why? I think it's a no-brainer, right? These are insurance companies that are providing some of these great products for Freedom Equity Group for us to promote to our clients. So these are some great companies because these are the oldest insurance companies, the largest insurance companies, some very, very wealthy companies, not just here in America, but throughout the world. So these are companies that we work with, Freedom Equity Group. We are not the company that's going to be paying the claim when someone makes a claim. The insurance companies are going to be paying the claims to the clients. Any questions? Super duper. Now I'm going to make a recommendation, and again, this is only a recommendation. If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. Find something else that you love to do that will pay you the kind of income that you deserve. So here's the first statement that I would want to make. At the ending of every day, each and every one of us, we trade our precious time for money. Am I right? We all trade time for money, yeah? What do you do? What do you trade your time for? How much money are we talking about? When I ask that question, people say, I'm good, I'm working. I say, well, those guys are Steve Doors at Matson. They make a lot of money, right? I have some clients who work for them. They say, yeah, I make about $10,000 a month, and I say, how many hours do you put into that? Is that 8 hours of a day, or are you talking about like 12, 14 hours? These guys say, man, we work as much hours as we can because after 8 hours, it's time and a half. I'm like, wow, okay. So now we're talking about trading time for money. The question is, how much money you're trading your time for? Is it $50, $60, $70, $80, $100 an hour? Let me show you something very, very simple about our business. In our business, we get paid by percentages of contracts, okay? We start at 30%, working our way up to 112% contract level. Here's the interesting thing. Percentage of what? Well, in Hawaii, we promote living benefit insurance, tax-free retirement, and so forth, and this is the way that we do it. When I was sitting with a client, I would ask the client, your life insurance, do you want it to be the type of life insurance that you can use while you're alive or after you die? People normally say, oh, I want to use it while I'm alive. Okay, retirement. Do you want to use your money at retirement that is taxable, or do you want it tax-free? That's a no-brainer, right? So therefore, if that's the case, in Hawaii, and this is an actual study that was done, the average person here in Hawaii would put away $300 per month into their retirement plan and into their life insurance plan. The average amount that people put away in Hawaii is $300 a month. Now, there are the lows, of course, and there are the highs, but the average right there in the middle is $300 a month. So if a client puts away $300 a month, that is $3,600 per year, right? Follow me this far? The way that we get paid from the insurance companies, right? So the way that we get paid from these insurance companies here, based on the amount of premium that the client spends. So if the client spends $3,600 a year, the insurance company pays us 30% of $3,600 as a brand new agent that's certified. You get paid 30% of $3,600. So your commission just from 30% of $3,600 is $1,080. So here's my question. How did you earn it? For me, when I'm sitting with a client, I'm going over the short presentation. When I'm done, the client will make a choice. I want that. I want to switch over. The beautiful thing about my business is that 9 out of every 10 people I talk to switch. 9 out of every 10 people I talk to, they switch. Why? Because what we offer has value. It normally takes about 1 to 2 hours with each client. So if you take 2 hours, right times, let's say I see 1 client a week, that's 4 clients a month. Therefore, 2 hours per client. Divide 1080 by 2 equals $540 per hour. So that means I make $540 an hour per client from a 30% commission of $1,080. 2 hours, $540. So here's a question. Is it worth your time? That's really the question, right? So can you set aside 2 or 3 hours every single week finding 1 client that you can help? And if you can do 4 clients a month, that is extremely part-time. So now you can take $1,080 times 4 clients. What is that? $4,320 per month? Yeah, part-time. Some of our agents' part-time money here, it's more than their full-time money. That's the beautiful thing about this. So therefore, let's do another one. Let's say when you move up to a 70% contract, what is 70% of $3,600? $2,500, right? So this is a 70% contract example. And the last example was a beginning level 30% contract example, right? So $2,500 or $1,080. I think $2,500 I will take any day, right? So you take $2,500 times my 4 clients per month, right? That's just 1 client a week. That's 10 grand per month part-time. I love this business. Let me tell you why. Because I know that every time someone sits in front of their information here, they know that it's good for them and their family. The idea of providing living benefit life insurance, protecting families, I think to me is a worthy cause. And then secondly, taking that individual or that family and say, let me help you to protect your hard-earned money, so you don't lose it in the market, but rather continue to grow in the market, guaranteed. So when you look at those two aspects of our business, to me it's fantastic. And then on top of that, we're providing an opportunity on a part-time basis. You can earn a full-time living, yeah? I'm not asking you to quit your job. I'm just saying, do it part-time. Even if these numbers were different, like maybe $100 a month premium paid, I think you're probably going to end up making about, let's say, $1,800 a month, part-time. Is that good? Or here, even at 70%, right? And a $100 premium also, you're going to end up making about $4,200 per month, part-time. What we need is people to go out and share living benefits and our mission to families about living benefits and tax-free retirement, specifically living benefits. Second, we're looking for good agents. We're looking for good people that understand the cause, that lead with their heart, because when you do so, money always follows. I hope that you find the understanding to really realize that what we do here, Freedom Equity Group, is that much more important. I hope that you see the value of what we do. We're building a small family here, and we're going to continue to grow, and I hope that you can become a part of it. So therefore, I want to leave that with you. I hope that you see the value of what we do and decide to become an agent with us. Thank you so much.